Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. 5 breakout players for the Georgia Bulldogs heading into the 2024 season. And when you recruit like Kirby Smart in this Georgia program does, it's not hard to find 5 breakout players. The hardest part about putting together this list was narrowing down the list of breakout players to only 5 names. I have my 5. Would love to hear some breakout players that I might be sleeping on a little bit. Before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys. And as always, a massive shout out to the Georgia fans. This is a program you guys know I love talking about, whether we're talking transfer portal, high school recruiting trail. You guys always show a ton of support to the boys. Cannot thank y'all enough. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. And more importantly, would love to hear some players in the comment section that I need to add to the notebook as potential breakout players. And without further ado, let's get into this one. And I'm going to start by bending the rules a little bit and going to wide receiver Dominic Loveit, who you could argue broke out in 2023. The reason I have him on this list is I think he takes another step in 2024. And it first starts with, I think Dominic Loveit is going to be the guy in this Georgia passing attack. And the reason I think he's going to be the guy is I think he fits exactly what this Georgia offense wants to do, working those short intermediate route concepts, creating separation. You look at this Georgia offense, they want to run the football and they want to work that passing game. They want to get the football out quick. What does Dominic Loveit do exceptionally well when you go back and watch the 2023 film? He creates separation so early in his route tree. And a guy like Carson Beck, yes, Carson Beck makes those NFL throws, but I think what truly makes Carson Beck special is how quick he processes, how quick he gets the football out of his hands. A guy like Dominic Loveit, I think, is going to be the leader in targets, the leader in catches, and the leader in receiving yards for this Georgia program. He was really second on this team behind Brock Bowers last year. And with Brock Bowers going to the NFL, I think Dominic Loveit kind of steps up and becomes that go-to guy in the passing attack. I am a massive fan of Dominic Loveit and what he can do. You look at how I evaluate wide receivers, and you look at Vlad McConkey last year and the last couple of years and what made him so special. The game of football is a space sport, right? Can you generate separation? Can you operate in space? And if you can do that at the wide receiver position, you can create separation, allow the quarterback to get the football to you in space, you're going to be a good wide receiver at the college and NFL level. And I think Dominic Loveit, with his short area quickness, with his route running nuance, is going to be a guy that is featured in this Georgia passing attack. The next guy I'm going to go to, and is sticking with the pass catchers, a lot of college football fans across the country who might not follow the recruiting trail, might not follow kind of the 2 and 3 deeps on some of these teams, probably are just hoping that Georgia, all right, they lost Brock Bowers. Maybe we don't have an absolute weapon at the tight end position to deal with for this Georgia team. Enter in Oscar Delp, who I think last year is probably a starting tight end on 95% of Power 5 programs. He was sitting behind one of the best tight ends we've seen at the college football level. Oscar Delp, I think, is poised to have a massive year. And I think what's most exciting for Oscar Delp is he's a guy that probably deserves a little bit of that Brock Bowers treatment in terms of where is Brock Bowers? We need to make sure we're taking him away. He's not going to get that attention. And with how good Georgia is at getting their tight ends involved in this passing attack, and with Oscar Delp potentially flying under the radar, I think Oscar Delp's poised to have a massive year. Was really good last year, right? Caught 24 of 29 targets and 83% completion percentage when targeted. Oscar Delp's crafty. He knows how to create separation. He is getting better at using that big frame that he has. And a lot of the same things we talked about in sense of Brock Bowers and what made him so special, I think Oscar Delp has a lot of those traits. Now, am I saying he's going to be Brock Bowers? No, because we haven't really seen a Brock Bowers until we saw Brock Bowers. But I think Oscar Delp is going to be a top tight end in the country and a guy that's going to be featured in this Georgia attack. And one other thing I'd note after going back and watching the film, Oscar Delp is a hammer in the run game, a very good blocker. You saw some growing pains for Oscar Delp as a true freshman blocking. I thought he made massive strides in 2023. And you look at this tight end duo heading into 2024, Oscar Delp, Lawson Lucky, you're looking at, again, another phenomenal tight end room for the Georgia Bulldogs. I think Oscar Delp has a breakout year. 12 months from now, we're probably going to be talking about Lawson Lucky having a breakout year in 2025. Next player I want to go to, and arguably, in my mind, one of the most important positions to see a breakout performer for this Georgia program is on that defensive line, specifically on the inside. Georgia fans who've been listening for the last couple months kind of know that my biggest critique on this Georgia team in 2023, and I mean, as a Michigan fan, I'll say this right now, I'm not convinced Georgia wasn't one of, if not the best team in college football last year. The biggest critique that I had with this Georgia program is you didn't have that game record on the inside that we saw Georgia have the last couple of years with guys like Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Jaylen Carter. Who is going to emerge as that game record on the inside? And yes, I like guys like Nazir Stackhouse, Warren Brinson. Are they game wreckers? No. Are they guys that start on, again, 95% of Power 5 programs? Absolutely. Do you have a game wrecker on the inside? My guy's going to be Christian Miller. I think Christian Miller might have been the best interior defensive lineman that we saw for the Georgia Bulldogs last year. He's going into year 3. That's normally when you expect those breakout performances. I think if Christian Miller can build on what he did at the end of the season against that Alabama team in the conference championship game, I think you're looking at a game record potentially for the Georgia Bulldogs. And I would throw in guys like Jordan Hall, like Jamal Jarrett, guys that we were really excited about that probably weren't quite ready to take over games as true freshmen. Which guy is going to take that step on the inside is probably the biggest question that I have for this Georgia program. And if they get a guy to step up, you're looking at, I mean, you're already looking at the best team in the country, but you're looking at a team that really can be special in 2024. Next guy I want to go to, and I'm going to do another, 2-for-1 here. I'm going to shout out 2 guys at that edge rusher position. Another position that I would argue was a little bit underwhelming, right? Mikael Williams was our guy last year where you saw the flashes as a freshman. You kind of expected a game record in 2023. You didn't really get that. Who is going to be the game wrecker at that edge position for the Georgia Bulldogs? I got 2 guys. I'm going to go first to Damon Wilson, who a guy that I love coming out of high school. You're talking about a true Ferrari-type pass rusher, right? Georgia has a lot of those heavy-handed guys that are going to collapse pockets, like to go speed the power. They don't have too many guys with that truly special twitch to win on the outside with that speed and athleticism. Damon Wilson, he has that, and he showed it as a freshman. I think he needs to take some strides in what he does in the run game. I think that'll come with putting on a little bit more weight in the offseason. But you're talking about probably one of, if not the best pure pass rusher on this Georgia team. I think Damon Wilson Jr. is certainly in for a breakout year. The other guy I would mention, Jaylen Walker, another guy that I just said Damon Wilson was the best pure pass rusher. I think you could argue Jaylen Walker was too. 19 quarterback hurries, a 21.5% pass rush win rate. Both of these players, in Damon Wilson and Jaylen Walker, they need to take some strides in terms of what they do in the run game to get them on the field a little bit more. I think the reason you saw Chaz Chambliss play so much is, he's a hammer in the run game. He does what he needs to do in terms of taking on blocks, keeping contained. If Damon Wilson and Jaylen Walker can take those strides in the offseason, you're looking at 2 guys that are going to be some of the better and more dangerous edge rushers that you see in college football. If they take those strides, you're looking at some special guys. I'm hoping Mikael Williams has, kind of a bounce back year. We get back to the dominance that we saw from Mikael Williams as a true freshman. Last guy I want to talk about here, and kind of taking over one of the more important positions in this Georgia defense, Jonel Aguero, right? He had the opportunity to learn behind one of the better star nickel corners that we saw in college football in Tyke Smith. Jonel Aguero, from the time he committed to Georgia, we kind of pegged him in as the next stud star player for this Georgia program. He has everything you want in that nickel defender. He's really, really quick with his twitch, really good movement skills, can be good in coverage, but most importantly, when you're looking at that star position, yes, you have to be able to have that quick twitch, be able to deal with slot receivers, but you have to be physical in the run game. And Jonel Aguero, coming in at 200-plus pounds, is a guy that has the physicality to play along the line of scrimmage as well This is a very important position in this Georgia defense. You are asked to do a lot of different things, blitz off the edge, come up in the run game, be good in coverage. I think Jonell Aguero has all those physical traits to do exactly that in this Georgia defense. Looking for him to take a massive step as well. Should have noted this at the top. I didn't include true freshmen, didn't include incoming transfers. Those guys, a couple guys I'm really excited about, but those are some of the breakout players that I have on my list. A couple other, honorary mentions. Raylan Wilson at the linebacker spot. I think we saw CJ Allen really kind of take over that linebacker spot as a true freshman. Raylan Wilson, I think you could argue, is just as good as CJ Allen. I think he might be physically a little bit more gifted than CJ Allen. I think the reason you saw CJ Allen play more than Raylan Wilson was I think he had those instincts and he kind of knew what he was doing a little bit more. If Raylan Wilson puts that together, you're looking at a phenomenal linebacker in Raylan Wilson. The other guy I want to shout out, Ernest Green, who, again, going into year 3, phenomenal left tackle performance from him as a redshirt freshman or second-year guy. Ernest Green going into year 3 really excites me in terms of being that All-American, All-SEC tackle that's nails in pass protection, but also can get it going in the run game. I mean, there's a laundry list of guys that could break out for this Georgia program. We all know what they've done on the recruiting trail. These are some names that I'm paying attention to as spring practice kicks off. Again, would love to hear from you guys as well in the comment section, some breakout players you guys have in mind. Appreciate y'all rocking with the boys. Again, if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.